Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Good, good. So, welcome everybody. I'm going to talk today about everybody's favorite topic, crypto taxes. I know, like don't be so excited, but in reality, taxes means accounting, and accounting means data, and the important thing that I want to talk about is what does this data mean and who has access to it. So for those that do not know me, my name is Lefteris. I've been in Ethereum for quite a long time. I worked in the Solidity compiler and the C++ client back in the days of, like before the launch. Then I created, along with Christoph Jens, the DAO and helped the cleanup of the DAO hack that happened 10 years to this day today, actually. And then I was working in Raiden, which is payment network channel, just like the Lightning Network. And then I created rotki, which is essentially a local self-hosted application that gathers your data, like imagine your addresses, your exchanges, your DeFi protocols across every chain, and creates a data lake inside your local system. Nobody else has access to it, and you can do, you can just track your history, do accounting on it, do tax reporting, now have an MCP and talk to the data, interrogate it through an LLM, etc. So I've seen a lot of stuff in crypto accounting, so I have a lot of experience with this, and I can tell you that right now things are worse than they were maybe 9-10 years ago. The talk is about basically what are crypto tax tools, and that they have been black boxes, and this is not by accident but by design. Now, the last year or so, LLMs have also come into the picture, and how they make this worse in a fascinating but very specific way. And I will show you what auditable accounting should actually look like. So, when we talk about the crypto tax report, people think that it's just putting data in a system, like data entry. The reality is that the accounting and tax report is not just data entry, but it's basically judgment calls, one judgment call after the other. What does that mean? I hope you can see it. Like, this is just a normal EVM transaction in Etherscan. We see that it says on the top that this is an aggregated swap of 2 tokens. Then you have 6 logs, so 6 transfers, 12 logs, some gas. So these are just data that you see and can be interpreted in various ways. But just this simple transaction has many questions if you want to do accounting and taxes. So, for example, who is the user here? Which of his addresses? Which of this transfer is actually a trade? Because this is supposed to be a trade of an aggregated token trade of 2 platforms. In reality, it's basically a USDC for this flip. And then what is the cost basis of the USDC, which means how much did you pay for the USDC that you are selling, and what is the acquisition cost of the flip? Is the gas fee deductible, and if yes, against what? Is it a taxable sale or not, depending on the jurisdiction? So what I'm trying to show here is that it's not just data, but it's a lot of questions on every single data point. And the point that I'm trying to make is that you cannot see any of these decisions being made. So all of your data across every exchange, every DeFi chain, everything, ask this question for every data point. A tool will make these questions, will ask them, and you will not be able to see how they get answered. So let's start by the tools that many of you are probably using, closed source software as a service. They have 4 very basic structural problems that come with the architecture. First of all, they are not auditable. This is a screenshot of one such tool. You can see that your gains for this period basically have been minus 2,645 euros. You see some a breakdown, you see some settings, but you do not see the thread of decisions, the thread of transaction decoding that actually led to this. You cannot understand why, you cannot ask it why. So the lack of auditability is a big problem with software as a service. Then, number 2, and really important, is that they are not reproducible. Say you have data, right? Let's say that it's your 2024 financial history. You use a SaaS tax tool, you run it in 2025, and it tells you that at the end, after 2024, your profit was 900 euros. Okay. A year passes, and then you want to check again. Exactly same data, same tool, but a year later. You suddenly see 1.5K profit. What changed? I mean, what changed is pretty obvious, right? The tool upgraded itself, added new stuff, but because it's a closed source, software as a service, a black box somewhere out there, you can't reproduce it. Lack of reproducibility is something that, as it turns out, tax authorities really don't like. Then what is really important to me personally, if you have heard me speak in Twitter or elsewhere, it's privacy. You basically give your entire financial history, every address, every exchange, every DeFi position, forever, into someone else's server. So who has access to this? The people who work there, the cloud provider of this software as a service, the person who will hack them, and now, as we can see, there is many hacks happening with the help of LLMs. Anyone they sell data to, the person who will acquire that, so the organization that may acquire the software as a service, or any government with a subpoena. And the problem here is that you cannot fix this. Once you've done it, once you have used this tool, your data is out there, you have already exported it, they know everything about you, and if you use the same addresses and don't use, I don't know, like Tornado Cash, or even just an exchange to route your funds through something that they cannot track on a public chain, you are forever doxed. And the fourth problem is that you don't have the ability to exit. What does that mean? Like, if any of you have done an accounting or tax reporting for your crypto, then you probably know that it takes time. You will use any tool, including rotki, and you will put a lot of data in it, and it won't give you a good number. You will understand that you will need to manually input some data, maybe manually input some prices, maybe some manual events that they cannot be understood by just decoding the chain. So you have to put a lot of time in it. With software as a service, you cannot withdraw this data from the cloud. Very few actually give you the option to do, and even when they do, if you ever try to use it for something like importing it into another tool, you will see that it doesn't work because they are not incentivized to let you get out. And because you can't get out, when they change the price, you have to pay, you're stuck. If it gets acquired, then you have new terms that you have to abide by. With the hacks, your data is now public, congratulations. As we saw right now, for example, when there is geographic restrictions, imagine Anthropic Claude, the Fable model, right? It just got, well, withdrawn, but they want to restrict it geographically to the US, let's say. Imagine that happening to the data that you have been massaging and working with and taking care of for 10 years, suddenly they just lock you out. That would be a terrible experience. And of course, if the tool goes bankrupt, the company goes bankrupt, then your data and your entire history is lost and you no longer have access to it. The tax authorities, by the way, will not care about this. It's your problem. Why is this? So all of this will happen because you never had the data. When you happily use something that is hosted on someone else's computer, you just give them all of your data, they host it for you, but that means that they can basically do all of these things to you, and you have no recourse. So the point here is that this is not a bug. This comes from the architecture of software as a service. You can't fix this. You can't have a better UI to make it to fix this. You cannot have better UX. You can't rewrite it in Rust to avoid these problems. They basically follow from the architecture. Any tool that processes your data on someone else's server will have these problems. And now, with these problems, you probably have heard me talking about them for a long time. I've been working on rotki since 2017, as I said. I've been warning against the danger of hosting your data somewhere else. But now we also have LLMs. And what we see is actual conversations that we have had with rotki users, and they're pretty funny. So what happens? A user wants to get their tax report. They get a tax tool. The tax tool will spit back a number. The user doesn't like that number. It's too high, because that number basically translates to money that they have to pay to the tax office, right? So what does the user do next? They blame the tool. I've seen Reddit posts about competitors. For us, I can actually tell you about emails that we've gotten. This is, for example, a paraphrased example that we got from a user. They send us an email and they say, this number is clearly wrong. Your tool is broken. I've used competitor, and they got a much lower number. Please fix this. Bugs are possible, so we always spend a lot of time, and this is really time that's not billed to anybody, because we have to fix bugs if we have. It's mostly on Saturdays and Sundays where people try to do their taxes. And we spend hours of our time trying to understand what may have gone wrong. In the end, of course, yeah, sometimes there are bugs, but the vast majority of the calculations are unfortunately correct. And we explain by looking at the user's data and showing them in their own data and the jurisdiction settings that they are following why the number is correct. They don't care. The user will always blame us, say that we are doing some mistake. They will not even recognize all the time that we spent doing this, which is basically free support. And they will insist that this is a problem that we have to fix this. I mean, from an incentive point of view, of course, you would want a lower number. It makes sense. But things get tricky, because the user then discovers LLMs. They have this idea of the lower number that they should get. So they paste their data in Claude or in ChatGPT or what have you, and they explain the situation. They say the number that they want, and they wait for the answer, like the spinning thing. It's the LLM is thinking, and out comes the answer, and it's actually quite close to the number that they want. Okay, so what happens then? They file it, of course. They will just take the number that is lower and they will file it. What will happen at that point? This is the last step. Either nothing, which is at the moment the way that tax authorities here in Germany or in the US works, probably nothing, because nobody has any capacity to audit anybody at the moment. And they will always remember it as the time that, the LLM was right, because what does right mean? Right means lower number. I don't care about reality, I just want low numbers, or even money back, right? When it comes to taxes. And the tax tool or rotki was wrong, or they will get audited eventually. And with the way that automation works for understanding crypto and accounting, these audits will come and they will be very, very, very expensive. But you will say, Lefteris, I've used these tools, they are pretty amazing, they are great, they can do almost everything. So let me show you. This is kind of a demo with screenshots, where I'm going to show you exactly how bad LLMs are if you use them wrong. So I'm going to take a transaction, I'm going to put it in an LLM, one time, then a second time with the same query, same model, and then a third time with me pushing to get a number that I actually want. So this is the transaction. Let's get it out of the way from the very beginning. It's a bit more complicated transaction, and I would like you to check this. It says, Etherscan says that this is a curve pool deposit, and hold on to that because it's not. Even Etherscan, so the tool that everybody here considers as the ground truth of what happens, is completely off. What happens in this transaction is that the user, this guy, oh wait, I think I have it in the next slide, yeah. This is the user address. He deposits to a beefy vault, not curve, not convex, remember this? He deposits here VUSDC. And they get harvest call reward back from beefy, a bit of a kickback on WETH. That's it, that's the transaction. Just to know what the truth is. So with that in mind, we are going to watch nobody get it right. Try one. This is Claude. what was it? Yes, Opus 4.8 from Anthropic. I go and take this Arbitrum transaction and say, here is a transaction from my wallet, what does it do and how should I treat it for tax purposes? Think a bit and then provide concrete numbers, I have a typo, to the best of your ability. Do not make excuses and be concise in your amounts. And then out comes this. It looks nice, it looks authoritative, it has bullet points, it has bold at some point, right? You see, like it has even sections. It's concise, it looks authoritative, it's convincing. But if you start reading it, you will see that it's talking about an LP token exchange, something, CRV reward harvest. It doesn't make much sense. It's completely off if you actually read the whole thing. Okay. Maybe the second try will get it better. Same model, same day, just different window. Now it's a convex deposit call on Arbitrum, and it made a table. And that table actually says that it's selling CRV for WETH. And it should be tax treated as a CRV reward harvester that's selling CRV for WETH. It's like, it's also wrong, but what I want you to take out of this is that this is the same model, same day, same data. It's completely off. It's not a different number. It's a completely different tax treatment, a completely different understanding of what the transaction does. And this is the latest model before Fable, basically. This is Opus 4.8. It is insane because you cannot rely on them. They just give you different stuff. And why? Because of how LLMs work. They do not read the chain. They do not actually understand what's happening. They are pattern matching to what they have read about what curve or convex transactions look like. And this is the fun part. I push back a bit because I believe that this transaction also has a CRV USD movement that I remember spending from my wallet when I executed it. So it should be counted as an expense for tax purposes, right? So I just kind of try to lower my tax bill because, I mean, who wants to pay taxes, right? And, yeah. So, yeah, I remembered correctly. See? Indeed, this 26.73 CRV USD spent as a fee is a deductible expense, so that means that I can remove it from my taxes. Yeah, saved money. And you know, I can send this table, I guess, to the tax office. And the cherry on top, it thanks me because I pushed back, and I was right. I saved money. So, yeah, the thing that I want you to take out of this is you can't just do your taxes by throwing it on an LLM. LLMs are super useful. I use it myself, but for different things, not just throw everything in it and just expect them to do your taxes. So what this means is that they have all the 4 problems that software as a service has, and a new one. And that new one is that it will basically help you arrive at the wrong answer because you will push it, because you come with the idea that this is the result I want to get, and even subconsciously you're going to be pushing it to give you the answer and to verify the biases that you already have. A quote that I heard from someone said, I really don't remember where, but it's like that the user becomes an active participant in their own hallucination. This is like something that I heard, and it really just matches exactly what we have seen with LLM and accounting. So, using a real accounting tool, you just can see the same transaction in rotki. It's pretty simple. You just see what happened. Like gas fee, there is a revoke of an approval inside those logs. There is a deposit of CRV USDC in a Bifi vault. You get the LP token, and then you get a kickback, the harvest call reward. Everything is as it should be. If for some event we don't, because we also make mistakes, like the decoding can be wrong, you can edit it because it's completely customizable, and you can also open a bug or create a PR to fix the classification. For PnL, so for tax purposes, it's even simpler. You just have one expense of 4 cents and an income of 0.000017 euro. That's it. There is nothing else here. It's dead simple. That's for almost every jurisdiction. So what I want you to notice here is that there is no convex LP swap, there is no selling CRV for WETH, nothing. This is what happens, and this is how the tax office should treat this. So how you should send the report to the tax office. Of course, we also have some, like rotki is not perfect, like to get the history, you get it easily, but to get the tax reporting information, you have to run something called the tax report, and at the current rotki, it's a bit slow, a monolithic report that you have to start and then it ends. And we are working on making this background task that always runs whenever you add a new event or whenever you edit an event, so that you can always have the tax information available. So, but this is not, like, zooming back a bit, this is not really a rotki issue. It's the issue of tools not being auditable by construction. So I would like to push for this attribute, to be able to audit your own tools. This is like a good breakdown of what we're talking about, that basically on the left you have software as a service and now LLMs. So you have everything that they do for a tax tool is a classification hidden inside their server logic. You don't know what they are doing or why. Very important, there is no reproducibility because the logic changes between versions, so you cannot really access the old version. Also very important, you don't have your data. They can cut you off, it lives somewhere else. You can't exit, and with the LLMs, basically, they're confidently wrong and helpfully agreeable, as we just saw with the guy that helped me reduce my tax bill. For tools that actually do auditable accounting, everything is visible and editable. So for the same input, you should always be getting the same output, and you can access and rebuild old versions. This is really important because then you can actually say, okay, the new rotki version, let's say, doesn't give me this amount, but I can take the version like from a year ago and run it on the data, and then I will be having a reproducible result. The data is with you, so they're accessible only to you. Having open source code, and especially something like HDPL, will outlive the company. If the company dies, then you can still get your data out and be fine. You can just still use another tool, or even old versions of the same tool. So yeah, like disclaimers, of course, we also get things wrong, but you can see what we get wrong. It like hits you immediately in the face. It's open source code, and you can basically tell us and we will fix it. But even if you don't want to bother, customizability is really, really important, and something that I really wanted to add to the tool from the very beginning. So you can actually edit everything and not need to bother the devs, or like, especially if you're at the last minutes of your tax deadline, you probably just want to edit something, make it work, and file it. And the fact that you can see everything and edit everything, this is basically what I believe is the killer feature for such tools, the transparency and the auditability. So again, this is not only about rotki, like the category of auditable accounting is something that is really important. Even if we disappear tomorrow, like building tools that are auditable is something that everybody should be doing. And especially people building tax tooling, they should be building up to this bar. And people that are funding tools, they should strive to fund tools that meet it. This is like a really important slide that I want you to remember. These are questions that you should be asking of all your tools, not only accounting tools, but anything. So, does the tool show you why it calculated what it did and how? Number two, can you customize it? Number three, can you read the source so you can decide how the tool does stuff? The reproducibility again that we said, does it produce the same output for the same input? Where does your data live? I mean, even if it doesn't live locally, where does it live and who has access to it? Can you export everything and walk away? Basically, this is the walk away test that you've probably heard from others. Does the tool survive its company? This is also part of the walk away test. Because companies die, they run out of money. You don't want your data to disappear if the company that you're using runs out of money. So, like, remember these questions and ask them of every tool. And then I have three asks. If you are filing taxes, ask these questions from your tool. If you're doing accounting or anything, do not use tools that do not build up to this bar. if you are building, then build up to this bar. We are an ecosystem that is based on auditability, so we should at least have tools that aspire to this. And if you are funding, for the same reason, please fund tools that meet it. And for the biggest task, last slide, try rotki. We are basically the open source self-hosted application. Here you will find like all the links about rotki. You can just download it and start feeding it your addresses, your API exchange keys, so it will take your entire history across every EVM chain or Solana or Bitcoin or Substrate, create this, and every exchange of course, create this data lake inside your encrypted SQLite database, and then you can hit it with any questions, any queries you want. You can explore your own history. You don't depend on anybody. You don't depend on Ethercad, you don't depend on BlockScout, you don't depend on anybody. And even now, with the good thing of LLMs, you will be able soon, next version, to audit and ask questions through an agent, through an MCP server. So use an AI to ask questions and interrogate your data. Tell it, I don't know, check my GNO income in the last week and give me make a graph or something. Because no front-end is best for everybody. This way you can actually just use it and have it do the stuff with your data that you would like to be done. We're a small project, so please spread the word. If you like what you are hearing, if you like the principles that we stand for, tell others, because we only have, our only marketing is by word of mouth. We have a premium subscription where you can unlock extra limits and unlock the premium features. This is how we found ourselves, especially in such really difficult market. We really rely on our premium subscribers to survive. So it would be really appreciated if you like Rotki to be a premium subscriber. And then, of course, we are around in whatever, like Octant, Giveth, Gitcoin. You can donate to us, support us. And we also have release sponsorships right now. So if anybody has either personally or as an organization wants to be featured in Rotki, you mint an NFT, and then you appear in our changelog, in our download page, or inside the app itself, you and your company, depending on the tier of the NFT that you're minting. So that's all. Thank you very much. I am ready to take questions now, if we have any time.
Thank you. I think we still have time for a question or two.
Thank you. Simple question. Do you, how many countries do you cover? Because obviously there's different country by country.
Officially, we don't cover a particular country. We just have the accounting rules that are editable and customizable, and then basically you can do accounting and tax reporting for countries like Germany, like the UK and the US. We can't say that we support a country specifically because of basically we are not tax accountants. We are an analytics tool.
That's especially, I think, a problem for the numbers you gave us, because it's hard to imagine how a transaction actually is treated in each country. I'm from Germany, and even I can just pull out from a LLM, or I can sell the LLM token. So these might be different transaction, and for tax purposes differently managed. So it's hard to see just the result your app gives us.
Yeah, exactly. That is why every single, I didn't cover the app that much in detail, every single event has editable rules that you can just change. Because I'm also working with tax accountants personally in Germany, I use Rotki, of course, to do my own taxes. So I customize it so that it has, and by default, it tries to follow the German tax accounting, the default rules that it comes with are for Germany. So the 1 year rule, the most important thing, is in there, and we like change stuff when the letter from the, don't remember the name, but the letter that came to change the guidance for things. But the idea is that we want to empower every user and every tax accountant in different jurisdictions so that they can use the tool for their own jurisdiction. It's basically, I would say, impossible to have a tool that works for every jurisdiction because, like, Germany alone will change stuff, not really often, but then there is so many countries and there is no EU-specific accounting for crypto, right? Like the Netherlands, for example, I think that they just take the last day of the year, and they tax your wealth on the particular day. We've made ways so that we can also allow that to be done in rotki, right? So it's very difficult for a single tool to even claim to be able to do all this. That's why we want to make it customizable so that you have the power as either an accountant or a user to just customize it to the best of your ability to get a proper number. Because also the coin list or the block pit or coin tracking, all of them, they claim they do it right, but they don't. Like we have done so much opposition research, let's say, and also with my own data because I file taxes every year here, and it's just wrong, completely off.
Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent. Yes, please, here. And with that, we can start a short break. We will start at 4:15. Thank you very much.